So here's the thing. A couple of days ago, our friend Ross over at PS Gamer put a very inflammatory status up on Facebook in which he said he legit didn't trust anyone who actually thought that NSYNC were better than the Backstreet Boys. Well, because I am sane and have all my faculties about me, I took great offense to this post because obviously NSYNC is the far superior boy band. Always have been, always will be, despite the fact that those old fucking sad sacks at the Backstreet Boys are still, in the Backstreet Boys and touring and making music. They are still in a boy band in their 30s and 40s, and if that doesn't disqualify them right there, I don't know what does. However, we're going to humor them and give you this rebuttal because everybody deserves the truth in life, right? Americans, anyway, have been hearing a lot about fake news the last couple of weeks, and I cannot, in good conscience, allow these just out-and-out lies to continue. So this rebuttal will not present nearly the fanfare that Ross's epic video rant did, but, we at the Sirens have always valued quality content over showmanship. That's why we prefer NSYNC over Backstreet Boys. So, because we are the Sirens, we cherish sisterhood above all things. We are going to tag team this effort, and I'm going to hand it over to Ashley Perna so that she can continue to give you our solid, indisputable facts and statistics as to why NSYNC is superior in literally every way. We're talking numbers, we're talking sustainability, we're talking sheer talent, we're talking musicality, because you know what? Even though they were a boy band, that matters. And the fact that NSYNC could actually create and produce their own music, please. You don't think the Backstreet Boys are doing that, do you? No, you don't think that. Okay. Here's Ashley. I hope you enjoy, and I hope at the end of it, you will agree. NSYNC always wins.
It may seem superfluous, but every now and then, one must take a step back from the real world, because that shit is depressing. Instead, it's important to throw yourself entirely into one of life's most prolific debates. NSYNC or Backstreet Boys? Sure, there were many other boy bands littering the airwaves throughout the late 80s, 90s, and even all through the 2000s, but NSYNC and Backstreet Boys were the only two that really mattered. When our friend Ross posted on Facebook about Backstreet Boys' superiority, we could not remain silent. 78 comments later, it was clear that all of us were irrationally invested in this argument with zero interest in conceding defeat. Then it devolved into a very aggressive spat about Hogwarts houses, in which Ross violently insulted Luna Lovegood, and things just got ugly fast. Anyway, a couple days later, Ross uploaded his truly epic video rant, in which she expressed an undying and potentially unhealthy adoration for those weak-ass Backstreet Boys. He also had an altercation with Alexa, but I'll keep those spoilers to myself. Check out Ross's video below. Once you're done, prepare yourself for the utter annihilation of every one of Ross's arguments. Members. No, not their dicks. Ross claims that Justin Timberlake was the only member of NSYNC worth any sort of a damn, and that he carried the fivesome to stardom on his back alone. Justin's, not Ross's. Bullshit. First of all, JC was always the most talented. Ross is right. JC lacked that je ne sais quoi that Justin and his ramen hair carried. Chris Kirkpatrick, Joy Fatone, and Lance Bass admittedly did not get all the solos that JC and Justin got, but their masterful harmonies created those magical NSYNC melodies we all know and love. For the record, Ross denies knowing those names, but trust me, he does. Contrary to Ross's hilarious claim, Backstreet Boys only had one standout singer, and he had deep chocolate eyes, black licorice masquerading as a goatee, and that bad boy charm that so many of us hated or couldn't resist. That's right, A.J. McLean had that raspy, guttural type of voice that all of us love. That's where it ended. Brian was so-so. Nick still sounds like he's going through puberty, and poor Howie and Kevin couldn't hold a tune if you handed them one. Not one of them ever came close to solo success, which is why these sad old sacks are still touring as a boy band in their 30s and 40s. Hey, I'm in my 30s. Is this an age joke? The music. On this point, Ross is just wrong. So wrong. Ignoring the fact that Backstreet Boys songs never made one bit of lyrical sense, and we'll get back to that in a minute, we firmly believe that they only had one truly great song, and that was Everybody, Backstreet's Back. Seriously, that's it. Did their other songs make us want to rip our ears off? No, of course not. We could listen to them. Some of us sang along, some of us danced. They were all just the same thing, regurgitated into something slightly different, over and over, and how many albums do they have over and over? Times that amount, again. As for their lyrics, tell me what I Want It That Way means. I challenge you. NSYNC, on the other hand, delivered solid singles on every one of their albums, even some truly exceptional ones. From their very first release, you have pop smashes like Tearing Up My Heart, I Want You Back, I Drive Myself Crazy, and several fantastic songs that were not released as singles, such as their ethereal cover of Christopher Cross's Sailing. Then we move on to No Strings Attached, which gifted the world with such singles as Bye Bye Bye, It's Gonna Be Me, and This I Promise You, which is a fantastic fucking pop ballad, thank you very much, Roscoe. Finally, we get to Celebrity, which gave us, in one siren's opinion, NSYNC's best song, Pop. We also thoroughly enjoy their transition into more hip-hop themes because, unlike some people, we appreciate it when artists force themselves outside of their comfort zones and explore new sounds, rather than continuing to churn out the same old tired tropes over and over again. And despite what Ross claims, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays is a fucking fantastic fire Christmas song. The numbers. I promise this won't be boring. So this is one area where Backstreet Boys actually have NSYNC beat as far as total album sales go. Backstreet Boys have sold roughly 100 million total albums to NSYNC's 50 million. Logical people may argue that this is almost entirely due to the fact that the Backstreet Boys are still fucking together and making albums, while NSYNC hasn't released new music since July of 2001, nearly 16 years ago. And if that doesn't make you feel old, I'm not entirely certain why you're watching this. NSYNC also has a few records of their own, though. No Strings Attached sold 2.4 million albums in its first week of release, giving it top billing as the most records sold in a week. Do you know who's in second spot on that list? NSYNC, again! That's right, Celebrity had the second most albums ever sold in a week. Do you know where the Backstreet Boys come in on that list? On measly fourth place with Black and Blue. Backstreet Boys fans love to tout that most boy band albums ever sold even more than the Jackson 5 garbage, but when you're in a boy band forever, it's easy to break records. Hey, do y'all think that they're like the oldest boy band ever? Collaborations and appearances. Now, for some reason, Roscoe decided not to mention any of these points in his diatribe. I wonder why. Do you think he ran short of time? Or could it be because the Backstreet Boys have never actually been invited to collaborate or make appearances? Because the whole world already knew they were not the best boy band. I mean, probably, but that's neither here nor there. Between NSYNC's collaboration with Nelly on Girlfriend, Music of My Heart with Gloria Estefan for the movie of the same name, starring Meryl frickin' Streep and Angela frickin' Bassett, My Kinda Girl with R&B legend Brian McKnight, Space Cowboy with the late Lisa Left Eye Lopez, or their jungle mashup with the iconic Phil Collins for Disney's animated Tarzan, you certainly cannot deny that everyone wanted a piece of NSYNC, even some of the world's best and most iconic artists. On top of all of that, they had two very successful world tours, starred in The Simpsons, had a hugely publicized and widely viewed HBO concert, and performed at the freaking Super Bowl alongside Aerosmith, Britney Spears, Nelly, and Mary J. Blige. I mean, come on, that's more press and visibility than Backstreet Boys ever dreamed of getting. Neither group won a Grammy, which is a fucking travesty. Backstreet Boys won 2 American Music Awards, 7 Billboard Music Awards, 2 MTV Video Music Awards, and many more. NSYNC won 9 Teen Choice Awards, 2 People's Choice Awards, 6 MTV Video Music Awards, 5 Blockbuster Awards, 2 Billboard Music Awards, and 3 American Music Awards, just to name a few, and I'm only stopping because I am out of breath. Look, at the end of the day, it just comes down to quality. NSYNC was the whole package. They were cute, they could sing, they had catchy songs, that sounded different from one another, and they could dance. They put on an excellent live show. One siren got to see 3, and I swear if I could change her memories, I would. And they treated their fans very well. Voices matter when it comes to music for many people. It's why some of us can really like the way a band sounds, but not enjoy them because they hate the lead singer's voice. It's why some of us prefer Christina over Britney. It's because some of us want the substance, not the manufactured. I mean, most of those bands are manufactured, but you get my point. Let's move on. To us, the fact that NSYNC's sound truly evolved over their way too short time together, and that they also wrote, composed, and produced a lot of their own music proves that they are the clear winners. While we may not see eye to eye with Roscoe over at PS Gamer on this one, we truly appreciate his dedication to the cause. We pity how severely misguided his preference for Backstreet Boys is, and we hope he gets the help he needs, but we adore him nonetheless. Hey Roscoe, got a response? Everyone else, we'd love to know where you stand. Make sure to let us know whose side you're on in this very important NSYNC versus Backstreet Boys feud.